Well, hello, Eagles Nation, and welcome to another week of NFL football. Eagles football, of course. The Eagles coming off a 25-20, I believe, was the score. Victory over the San Francisco 49ers. And yes, I know San Francisco didn't have some players playing in the game, but neither did the Eagles. So, I guess it's about even. And a win is a win is a win. I know last week I did not have a video for the Season of the Fan franchise. I apologize about that. Just got real busy last weekend, and of course during the week, really to do any kind of video for the pre or post game. Have to take the bye week on that. Have to take the bye week on the Festive Four. Festive did go 3-1 though the week prior. The record is now 8-6. We'll get into the Festive Four. Got the Festive Four right here. The 4-pack of winners for this week. We'll get to that at the conclusion of the video, the last segment for this episode of Season of the Fan. And like I said, we are in week 5 right now. Good to see Nick Foles can still beat Tom Brady. That was good to see on Thursday night. Brought back some memories, of course, of Super Bowl 52. Which of course is the last time the two played each other in a well, they had a preseason, but regular season type of game. In that case, it was the biggest game that you could play in the NFL, the Super Bowl. Foles was victorious that night, as we all remember, and Foles was victorious again on Thursday night. So there's something about playing Nicky Six for Tommy, I guess. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there, though a little something there. Is kind of sort of Eagle related. But the Eagles, of course, this week are taking on the team from the other side of the state, the western part of PA. Of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, it is a tough matchup. It really is. Pittsburgh, obviously, a week ago had an unexpected bye week because of the pandemic, corona issues that were going on with the Titans. They were not exactly following the rules. Tennessee was, and because of that, both teams got an unexpected bye week, and the Steelers are coming off a bye, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Football, as in any sport, it's all about routine. And when you're kind of all of a sudden thrust into this, unexpected thing, sometimes that could work against a team. Now, I'm not saying that, this is a game that, the Eagles should go in and because of that reason have no problems with the Steelers and, get a big win. Because Pittsburgh is certainly a tough opponent, and they come in undefeated at 3-0. And some people have said, well, they really haven't played anyone. The teams that they played had a combined 1 win on the season. It is what it is. I've always said, and I will always say, it's a week-to-week deal. I mean, look, a lot of us didn't think the Eagles had a decent shot against San Francisco, even though San Francisco had injuries coming into that game. We're playing with their backup quarterback, and, we saw how well that went for them. So it was really good. It was really good. I did fail to mention this. It was really good to come to finally get a win on the season. I know the week prior was that wonderful tie with the Bengals, and because of that tie, the Eagles, oh by the way, are in first place in the NFC East as they take on the Steelers this week. Why? Because the Eagles were the only team in the division to win a game last week. We saw how wonderful. It's always wonderful to see Dallas lose, but yet again, they, the Browns look like the greatest show in turf offense against the Alice Cowboys. And I will call them Alice because there's no D in Dallas anymore. But and of course, the Washington football team, unfortunately, the only win they had on the season was against the Eagles in week 1, and then the Giants lost again. So. Look, I mean, it is what it is. The outside noise, of course, is it's a terrible division, and how can you even be happy being in first place in this division? And, honestly, how the season started, those first few weeks when it was just ugly, losing to the Washington football team, losing to the Rams in the home opener, and tying the Bengals. Getting a win last week felt good. And I know it's a terrible division, but I don't see the Patriots and their fans complaining for all those years that the Patriots were dominant, and they were a great team. They certainly were a great dynasty. But all of those years, the Patriots were in one of the worst divisions in football in the AFC East. They had no competition year after year in that division when you had the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins getting in their own way every year. Although the Dolphins always managed to beat the Patriots at least once a year for whatever reason. But that division, besides New England, was just a hot mess, and the Patriots benefited largely from that. And I'm not calling the Eagles the Patriots by any stretch of imagination here, okay? But what I mean is, it's not the Eagles' fault that this division is what it is. You know, the Eagles have nothing to do with what Dallas is or isn't doing, or what the Giants are or not doing, or what the Washington football team is or isn't doing. It's not up to the Eagles what those teams do, what those franchises do. You can just take care of what you take care of and what you control. And even though that it's shaping out to be a bad division again this season as it was a season ago, you forget about that. You forget about that and you play the game that's in front of you. Because all you can do is take care of your own business. It doesn't matter what the other teams in your division are or not doing, what they're inept at. It means nothing to you. In particular, if you just, find ways to lose games. Because then it doesn't matter what type of division you're in. If you're in the worst division in football and you can't win and you're losing to teams, well, it's not really helping. So it only works as a benefit if you win games and you do what you have to do to win games to, ensure yourself a spot in the playoffs as they did a year ago. And as a fan, it's one of those things where you go, yeah, it's all the but all that matters to me as an Eagles fan is I want to see my team win. I don't care what division they're in. I just want to see them win. I want to see them play good football. And at the beginning of the season, we didn't have that. And then last week, we did. And look, give them credit. The defensive line played tremendous a week ago, getting all sorts of pressure on the quarterback. And oh, look, the defense got turnovers. Oh, my God, they can do it. They couldn't do it for the first 3 weeks. Not one turnover all 3 games. And then last week, boy, they made up for it. 3 of them, including a pick 6 that kicked that quarterback out of the game, and they put in they put in the other backup, and boy, that got a little close then. But good thing they didn't put him in sooner than they did. But look, it was a good win. It was a gutty win. It was a road win, even though there's no fans in the stands. I know there's road games are what they are this year. Although now there's some talk that some fans might be able to come into the stands, but we'll see. Ultimately, it was a good gutty win a week ago. And because of that victory and because of the tie the week before, as crappy as that still is, they're in first place. And they got a tough game this week, as I was saying earlier, against Pittsburgh. But look, if this defensive line, and in the last few weeks, they have played really well. In fact, I believe I heard a stat that the Eagles have the most sacks in the league coming into this week's play. Particularly the last 2 weeks where they had 8 of them against the Bengals, and they had quite a handful against the 49ers. And that's one of the big reasons why they won the game. Carson played a good game a week ago. He did. And I know he's been much maligned through the first few weeks. I thought against the Bengals, look, it could have been better. We know about the missed throw to Miles Sanders that would have won the game. But ultimately, he got them to tie because he got the late touchdown that sent the game to overtime. And above all else, and you can only play with who's on the field, but some of his top weapons are off the field at the wide receiver position. You talk about Deshaun Jackson, Rieger's out. I mean, for what it's worth, they haven't seen Alshon Jeffrey since mid last season. So you can only do with what you have, and Dallas Goedert is out. So the weapons aren't really in the chest. For him, as you see some of these other teams, and we marvel as Eagle fans at some of these other rookies making big plays and these other players making big plays. And yeah, Howie Roseman screwed the pooch, by not drafting DK Metcalf a year ago and going with J-Jaw, and that really hasn't worked out. And the jury's still out this year on Rieger when you see Jefferson playing the way he is with the with the Vikings. Now, I still feel Rieger could be an impactful wide receiver on the team. He showed he has speed. And, if he has a career somewhat similar to Deshaun Jackson, I think we can all be happy about that. But the jury's still out. And until he's actually on the field, unfortunately, his career's already starting out like Djax by getting hurt. But unless he's on the field, we're not going to know. And there's so many kind of question marks. And again, here we are with the practice squad all-stars yet again. And they got a win last week. The receiver that made number 13, that made the catch last week, Fogel, I believe was his name. Never knew who he was before. But he came up with a big catch and a big touchdown late in that game to help secure a win. And it was a nice ball by Carson. And I know he's been criticized, and rightfully so, for some of the miscues, the misfires, the misthrows. But that was a beautiful ball that he had on that touchdown, the late touchdown to secure the game. He scored a touchdown earlier in the game. They went for 2, which I was shaking my head at. What the heck are we doing? And they got it. So all of it, like I said, it helped to get them a win. And I don't care what the situation is. A win is a win is a win. And it feels much better coming off a win. We finally had a victory Monday for the first time since late December to enjoy this past week. And I've been saying, the Steelers are a tough team, and they are an undefeated team. They're playing good football. They have played teams with a combined winning record of 1 so far with the 3 opponents that they beat, but they're good. They're a good team. They're a solid team. They're well coached. They've had players that have been together for years. That defensive line is nasty, and they get a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. They generate a lot of takeaways because of that, and that's what we saw with the Eagles a week ago. I like the way this defensive line's playing, and I also like the rotation. I think other guys have come in and have made good plays for this D-line in the past few weeks. It hasn't been the usual suspects. It's been other guys too, and that's key. And look, it's the highest paid defensive line in the league. It would be good to see them playing good, and they have in the previous few weeks. You are going up against a veteran quarterback, though, this week, a guy who's won a lot of games in this league, a 2-time Super Bowl champion in Big Ben. The last time the Eagles played the Steelers with Carson at the helm, the Eagles got a win, and quite a big win. Carson's rookie season, when the Eagles got off to a 3-0 start, and then the wheels started falling off in Detroit. But the bottom line is, in his career, he's played well against Pittsburgh. Although it's a very small sample source of him playing against the Steelers. He did okay his last time against the black and gold. Obviously, it was a different situation. It was a home game. Now, going to Pittsburgh, it's a different ball game. But, we'll see. The Steelers haven't played in a few weeks. They might get off to a bit of a, rusty start. Maybe the Eagles can take advantage of it. And they're going to have to, because every little advantage that you can get in a game like this, as tough as it could be, they're going to have to take. I thought that they got off to a good start against the 49ers. They set the tone a week ago, both offensively and defensively. And that's what they're going to have to do against Pittsburgh. Again, a very good team, a very, ferocious defensive front. Carson's got to get rid of the ball. It can't be one of those games where Carson holds on to the ball forever. He's got to get rid of it. And I don't think he's going to be able to run around the way he did against the Bengals and the 49ers, because you have that guy Watt there. And, Tuitt and other guys that are just ferocious. It's a very good defensive front with very good edge rushers that get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I mean, Watt plays like a linebacker. And, there just is something about that family that just seems to produce very good football team. I think there's 2 Watts on the Steelers, though, right? Why can't the Eagles get one of them? Steelers, you got 2 of them. Maybe you can loan us one. But it is what it is. And it's an organization that has drafted well over the years. We would like to say the same for Howie, but it's been a bit of the opposite. But you do see the difference in the 2 teams in the approach, right? The Steelers last season they were awful. As soon as Roethlisberger was out, that was pretty much it for their season. Now this season they get Big Ben back. He's played pretty good. It's a team that establishes their offense with the run, though. And that's the difference when you talk about the Steelers and the Eagles. The Eagles establish their offense with the pass, even though the receivers are practice squad or whatever. The Eagles still come out throwing the ball, right? We'd like to see more out of Miles Sanders. We'd like to see more out of the running game. Now, the Steelers have a really good offensive front. They're a good running team. They're a good running offense, of course, with guys like James Conner and company back there. So one of the keys for this game for the Eagles, if they want to get a victory in Pittsburgh, is stop the run. Now, this season, the Eagles have been pretty good against the run. You look at the rushing numbers of their opponents, and not great. Not terrific. And they did play a really good running back a few weeks ago in Mixon, and they shut him down. Last week against the 49ers, the 49ers can never really establish the running game with McKinnon and whoever else was back there for them. I know they had some injuries, but, it's still a pretty decent, offensive attack that they had. And the Eagles did a really nice job against them defensively. And as I said, in the recent weeks, what the Eagles have been really good at is getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. And last week's case, getting turnovers finally. They got 3 turnovers because of it. And you're going to, Big Ben is not quite the Big Ben that he was years ago. You can get to him. You can knock him down. The Eagles, if we remember that, there have been games in their history against Pittsburgh in more recent seasons that they have gotten pressure on Roethlisberger. They've harassed him. They've knocked him down. They've gotten some turnovers because of it. And, one of the keys, obviously, as I said, is slow down the Steelers' rushing attack. So you kind of put the ball in Big Ben's hands. And then at that point, you get that pass rush on him. You try to, you try to generate those turnovers as they did a week ago against San Francisco. And on the flip side of it, Carson can't hold the ball, forever. Now, one of the things the Steelers' defense is really good at is getting turnovers, particularly up front. They're really good at knocking the ball away from the quarterback's hands. And we know over the years, Carson's had that little bit of a bugaboo about him, right? Holding on to the ball too long, he gets stripped. It's one of the things he's got to be real careful with the Steelers, particularly that Watt and Tuitt. They're very good at knocking the ball away from the quarterback's hands. So he's got to get rid of the ball quick. He's got to, and I know, look, when you're playing with inexperienced receivers, running those routes can be a problem at times, getting on the same page, even though I think a week ago they did pretty good. I did hear Djax might play tomorrow, so that's a plus. Though with him, you never know if he's going to stay on the field. But anyhow, get rid of that ball, Carson. Get rid of the ball. Don't hold on to the ball, because honestly, he's not going to have the time to hold on to the ball, certainly this week against a ferocious pass rush in the Steelers, and next week too against the Ravens. You got to get rid of the ball and cannot lose the turnover battle this week. Last week they won the turnover battle. They won the game. This week, kind of a similar situation. The Steelers are a good team, but they're not an unbeatable team. And the Eagles just have to, not do things to get in their own way. If you lose the turnover battle this week against Pittsburgh, you're going to lose the game more than likely. So don't do things that are going to lead to turnovers. And one of those things, like I said, Carson's got to get rid of the football. Can't hold on to that ball. Because the Steelers are coming, not just to knock him down, but to knock the ball out of his hands. And like I said, they're very good at that. It's one of the strengths of that defense, creating turnovers, getting turnovers, pass rush. So it's a game that I know a week ago against the Niners, this offensive line, the makeshift offensive line, played pretty good. They're going to have to be good again tomorrow. And we're going to see, I think we'll learn a little more about Mailata tomorrow, because obviously going against the 49ers, I think he held his own and had a really solid game. But this week he's going up against a little more of a challenge against Pittsburgh. And we're going to see. Again, he is inexperienced. He's only making his second career start. So, that's going to be one of the keys to this game, too, is the offensive line play. And like I said, Carson can't Can't hold on to the ball. Got to get rid of it. Got to have quick hitters, slants, whatever it is that's going to get the ball out of his hands quicker, and also run the ball. Use Miles Sanders. I know there's this thing about they're worried about the fumbles and whatever. That's why he wasn't in late in the game. Miles Sanders is, at this point, he's one of your best offensive weapons. You can't just sit him on the bench. I mean, I'm sorry. I understand if you're in a close game, you're worried about you can't play scared. And if he's one of your best offensive weapons, you got to have him out there. And this whole thing about the pitch count with Deshaun Jackson, early in the season. I mean, look, these guys are your best offensive weapons. I don't want to see them on the sidelines. If they're playing in this game tomorrow, I want to see them on the field, because that's going to, enhance your chance at a victory tomorrow. Because look, I mean, they're some of your best weapons. You need contributions from everyone tomorrow to get a tough road win, another tough road win against Pittsburgh, as it was a week ago against the 49ers. And some of the things they got away with the 49ers are not going to be able to do so with Pittsburgh. So you need your playmakers out there, and particularly against, a good defense in the Steelers. It's better to have more playmakers out there than not. So, look, Carson has to keep playing well. Got to get rid of the ball. Can't hold on to the ball. I'd like to see them establish more of a running game. I'd like to see Miles Sanders more in the offense. And staying in the offense. And for the defensive side of the ball, keep doing what they've been doing the last few weeks. Get pressure. Pressure, right? Stop the run, first and foremost, and get pressure on Roethlisberger. Knock him down, harass him. Even the veterans make mistakes when you do that. So we'll see. Hey, it's going to be it's great to come off a victory. It really is. It did my heart better to see a win on Sunday night. And I think they're playing better now. I think that, maybe they turned a corner. But it's going to be a tough one against Pittsburgh tomorrow. If I had to be totally honest about it, lean slightly towards the Steelers, but at the same time, I've seen the Eagles win games that, like last week, that people there's no way they're going, and then they find a way to win it. So could the Eagles win a close game? Certainly they could. But it's going to take doing those things that I laid out there for them to have a chance to do that. And if they can do that, awesome. If they can win this game tomorrow, terrific. They're 2-1, and we're still looking good. But again, there are things that they have to do correctly to get the victory tomorrow. And again, look, Pittsburgh, like I said, they're not unbeatable. I know they're 3-0. They're playing good. The opponents have been okay for them. And the Eagles, look, the Eagles aren't like this world beater coming in either. Although they are coming off a win, but do those things. Eagles, just do those things, and you'll have a chance to get a victory. And you know what? Like I said, it's always better to come into another week coming off a victory than not. So we'll see what happens. The Steagle Bowl, right? The Eagles and Steelers in Pittsburgh tomorrow. I know there's Steeler fans out there that watch the vids from time to time, and I know people in the Jersey Heads community who are Steeler fans. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle tomorrow, I think. I think it is going to be a defensive battle. Two good defenses going at it. So, we'll see what happens. As I sit right now, I got to be perfectly honest. I do lean towards the Steelers just a bit in this game. But at the same time, if the Eagles do what they did a week ago, if the Eagles show that type of fight and show that next gear that they gave us a week ago to get a win in San Francisco, they can win in Pittsburgh. They can. But we'll see. I'm hoping, hey, look, I give my prediction because I got to be honest about it. But as always, I hope for a victory. And again, if they can do these things that I laid out there that they have to do, they have a shot to do it. But only time will tell, and we'll see what happens, tomorrow, 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox. So, speaking of Foxes, Festive, the weekly, and I know we didn't do it a week ago. Apologies on that. Have to take the bye week on that. But the weekly Festive Four is here. The 4-pack of games that Festive feels the teams are going to be victorious tomorrow. I should say, in week 5. And first of all, we're going to start off with Seattle over Minnesota. I know Minnesota, like the Eagles a week ago, got their first win on the season. But Festive likes Seattle to continue to be unbeaten so far in the season to get the win tomorrow against Minnesota. Festive also likes Arizona. I know it's been a couple tough weeks for them, but if there is a week to get right, it's against the Jets. And Festive likes the Cardinals to get a win against the New York Jets. Festive also likes Baltimore over Cincinnati. Cincinnati, talk about another team that got their first win a week ago. But Baltimore, Festive feels will continue. Will get a victory over the Bengals. And also, even though the Eagles did beat them a week ago, Festive likes the 49ers to bounce back to get a win against the Miami Dolphins. And that's it for the Festive Four. The recap, Festive likes Seattle over Minnesota, Arizona over the Jets, Baltimore over Cincinnati, and finally the 49ers over the Miami Dolphins. And Festive so far on the season is 8-6. Festive went 3-1 a couple weeks ago, looking to continue to winning ways and continue to look good. And we are hoping the Eagles continue to winning ways and looking good. Like I said, it's a tough spot. It's a tough game. You are playing against a team that's well rested. Unexpectedly for them to have that bye week a week ago because of the corona situation with the Titans, but it is what it is. The Eagles are coming off a good win though. The Eagles, hey, anytime you can get a win on the road, it's a good win. And maybe they get some momentum off of that. And who knows? You never know what one win can do. So we'll see. we'll see how it all plays out tomorrow in the western side of the state. And, as always, let's go Birds. Let's keep this winning thing going. I got to ring the wind chimes for the first time this season. Hopefully we can do that again. And hopefully, we'll be able to talk about a win against the Steelers and moving on to play the team that I know Steeler fans are against the Eagles this week, but I know you're all for the next week against Baltimore, right? All right, everyone, take care. And as always, go Birds. And thanks for watching. And hey, as always, feel free to hit that subscribe button, right? Hit the bell icon so you get notified to future vids, of course, on this channel. Make sure you like the vid. We always want that like. The like is more important than the alternative. So hit that like button and feel free to leave comments. What are your thoughts on the game tomorrow? What do you feel? Do you think the Eagles have a shot? What do you feel? And if so, what do you feel the Eagles have to do to get a victory? And if you're a Steeler fan, well, I kind of know your opinion already. So you keep your terrible towels to yourself, okay? All right, everyone, take care. We'll see you at some point after the game.